Go. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Oh, hello, everybody, and welcome to the little halftime show or talk. You want to just whatever you want to name it. I'm Ethan Bonheur, joining alongside Owen Heffron, and this has not been the game we thought it would have been completely. Ohio State already has more points in the first half than they did in the game that they played against Oregon in the regular season. Same team twice in college is really hard to do, and it's definitely being proven right here. 34-8. What has been your takeaway so far, Owen, of this game throughout the first 30 minutes?
It's been something I kind of said, and I know I'm probably getting tired of it because I'm repeating myself, but it's the big plays to Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka, as well as, the big run from Henderson as well. That's the way that they're scoring touchdowns. You're not seeing any sort of methodical drives being done for 6 points from the Buckeyes like we saw from Oregon to end that half, capped off by the Holden touchdown. But yeah, I think that's really been the name of the game, the big plays. Will Howard's playing out of his mind so far. And I think another big storyline, which kind of relates to all of this so far, like the whole college football playoff, is that every team that's played that has had a bye so far has lost. And I know that ASU Texas was very close. They still ended up dropping that game to the Longhorns. Penn State, Boise State got blown out by 3 scores, and now Ohio State's up 34-8 against Oregon, the number 1 seed who got a bye coming into this game. So I think, the bye is designed, you're healthier, but are you prepared, I think, is a big thing. Like you said, Oregon hasn't played a real football game since they played Penn State in the Big Ten Championship on December 7th. So I think in the second half, I think they are going to be warmed up. They get the ball first. They'll be building off of the touchdown 2-point conversion. And I think we'll see Dylan Gabriel kind of settle into the Heisman finalist that we saw all year round. But again, it's just up to that Ducks defense if they can control Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka, that running back duo, and then force Will Howard to make some bad decisions. He doesn't make a lot of them. He played an amazing football when he faced off against the Ducks back in October. But we've seen him make a few just missed passes if they're able to put a lot of pressure in the pocket, make him kind of use his legs to scramble out or make him throw on the run. It's because it's easier said than done to take away Jeremiah Smith and Egbuka, especially both of them at the same time. If you take away one, the other is going to be open. But I think what you can do is you can put pressure on Will Howard to maybe force a few throws, and I think that's how the Ducks can get a step and kind of claw their way back for this last half an hour.
And interestingly enough, too, like for OSU, they have 2 dynamic duos on offense, 4 star-studded players between Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, and then at the running back position, you have Quinshon Judkins and TreVeyon Henderson. And it's interesting you say that all 3 teams that have had a bye, 2 of them already been eliminated. And then right now, Oregon, they're facing elimination down 26 with only 30 minutes to play. But there's still one more quarterfinal game, and that's Notre Dame, Georgia. And that would have happened later tonight. But unfortunately, with the event that happened in downtown New Orleans, it got pushed 24 hours. It's going to be played at 4 p.m. tomorrow, Georgia, Notre Dame. Interesting game. Carson Beck out, starting quarterback. So now it's going to be Gunnar Stockton filling in for him, and he's going to be facing Riley Leonard, who the mobility that we've seen out of him, just how great he has been coming from Duke, and now he's just taken over Notre Dame. Now, what can Georgia do to not be put in that same spot as all 3 other teams that had a bye? Like, what will they do to avoid being eliminated, just like the other?
Well, you mentioned it. It's going to be tough with Gunnar Stockton instead of Carson Beck. I think what they have to do is, Riley Leonard, he definitely has put on a show, especially last, or I guess technically a little over a week ago against Indiana. I'm sorry, Ethan, proud Indiana student. But I think what the Notre Dame did really well is they I think they just played some really scrappy football, and they ended up winning 27-17. And their only loss, remember, all year long is to Northern Illinois, where they only lost because of a missed field goal. So I think that Notre Dame is a lot better of a team. A lot of people give them credit for, but they're facing off against Georgia, who's obviously the toughest team that they've faced all year long. Indiana was the highest ranked team that they had to face up until that point. So it's just getting harder and harder for Notre Dame. And for Georgia, I know they're without Carson Beck, but you can still ride behind those guys. You have Frazier and Etienne back there, and then you have Smith and Lovett and Bell at the wide receiver threats. This isn't a Georgia team that's been as unstoppable as recent years by any means. But again, they're still Georgia. They're still coached extremely well by Kirby Smart. But then Jeremiah Love is kind of the main focal point. He's probably the best offensive player on the field on either side of the ball, really. So I think the Bulldogs, if they eliminate him, force Riley Leonard to throw. The wide receivers for Notre Dame aren't the greatest. None of them have surpassed 500 receiving yards on the season. So cutting off Jeremiah Love is no easy task. I think Georgia should be able to do it if they really prep for it. But again, that bye, not as experienced in this college football playoff new format as Notre Dame is. So yeah, like you said, Ethan, it will be very interesting.
So yeah, like the running back position has just completely taken over the playoffs for a lot of the teams that we've seen. And two of the top dogs have already played. One played yesterday, one played today. Yesterday you had Ashton Genty. Unfortunately, Boise State, they did not win. Penn State, They are just they're just a powerhouse. They're in the same situation as Ohio State is, both Ryan Day and James Franklin. In those coaching hot seats, you don't know what's going to go on. But obviously, Penn State, they've locked their ticket in for the semifinals, and they'll play the winner of the game tomorrow, Notre Dame, Georgia. But now for Texas, and they're awaiting the winner of this game. And right now it's looking a lot like Ohio State, but that game, just Cam Scadaboo, what a player he is, throwing up on the sideline, being able to come back in and still add an extra 100 yards to his name. What a player.
Yeah, and a passing touchdown as well for him in that game on a little trickery for the Sun Devils. But we talked about it. I forget how it came up, but probably talking about the dynamic duo of Wisner and Blue for Texas when we did Texas versus Clemson. Neither of those guys had a really breakout game against the Sun Devils. 45 yards for Wisner and only 4 yards for Blue, who had a 77-yard rushing touchdown to kind of put the nail in the coffin, get some insurance against the Tigers in the first round. But Cam Scadaboo, 30 carries, an absolute workhorse, also led the team with 8 receptions and 99 receiving yards. And like I was saying, we talked about in Texas Clemson, I said that if Ashton Genty didn't exist, that man would be talked about so much more, especially on a team like Arizona State, who's had back-to-back 3-9 seasons, getting to the 4 seed in the college football playoffs up until, I guess now they're 11-3, but being 11-2 up until that point is just so impressive all around, as well as Sam Levitt, their quarterback, who showed off with his legs and with the arm over 200 over 200 passing yards and 60 rushing yards as well. So I think it's always tough when you got a team in the Big 12 going on to take an SEC powerhouse like Texas, whose only losses are to Georgia this year, which we talked about a lot last week. So it's definitely going to be interesting if those two face off in the Natty, which is definitely a possibility if Georgia wins tomorrow and then beats Penn State, and if Texas beats the winner of this game in the Cotton Bowl.
And the stats for that game, just incredible. You would think if you just looked at the stats, it would go ASU's way, like 510 total yards for Arizona State compared to Texas' 375. And then the time of possession, 16 more minutes of possession time for ASU instead of Texas, which is insane. But double overtime, Texas ended up pulling it out. Auburn, he kind of got lucky that with those 2 missed field goals,
absolutely,
they were still able to win it. So there's a little bit less like anxiety, I guess if you want to call it for them, since they won. But now Texas, obviously watching this game, knowing they're playing either the hottest team in college football right now or the overall best team in college football. So if you kind of scrap the score right now, I'll ask one question before we go to break. If you scrap the score, if it's 0-0 and you're Texas, Who would you want to play? Would you rather play Ohio State or would you rather play Oregon, not knowing what was going on right now?
Yeah, I think you'd rather play Oregon. I think that defense of Ohio State is so strong. And I know I don't really want to reference this game because we're talking about hypotheticals if it's 0-0. But I mentioned it earlier, the highest points they've allowed, 31 to Oregon back in October, haven't allowed more than 17 against anyone else all year round. And they've played some really good teams as well. They've played Penn State, they've played Indiana, they've played Tennessee. Um, Whereas Oregon, they haven't played as many good teams as Ohio State has, besides Ohio State themselves and then Penn State in the Big Ten championship. Those are the only top 15 teams they've faced. Um, so I think you'd rather play Oregon. I think Ohio State all around is, I know, despite the rankings, a better football team. I think it's being shown um, right now in this game. But even coming in 0-0, I think especially with Wisner and Blue and that threat and the strong defensive line that can put pressure on the quarterback like we see with Dylan Gabriel in this game, I think that you'd rather play Oregon, who's a little bit less star-studded than Ohio State is.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you too. And like looking at some of Oregon's 13 wins before playing this one, like Wisconsin, that was a really
Mm-hmm.
close game, 16-13. And
Mm-hmm.
then they also played one of the other teams that had a bye week in Boise State. They
Yep.
only won by 3 when Penn State, they beat them by 17. So
Yeah.
obviously a couple of major key wins or differences, if you want to call it. But for right now, we'll take a quick break and we'll join you for the start of the second half, which will be resuming shortly. I'm Ethan Bond, joined alongside Owen Heffron. 34-8 is your halftime score. Ohio State up 26 over the undefeated Ducks. Make sure to subscribe and like for Give 'em 5 Media. We will be back after this quick break to start the second half. Shit, yeah, we're good. Let us know, Gans. Welcome back to the start of the second half. Give him 5 media. Ethan Bonheur, Owen Heffron taking you for the last 30 minutes to end the Rose Bowl. 34-8, OSU up 26 as Oregon takes the fair catch, and they'll get the ball at the 25-yard line. And so far, down 26. What do they need to do on this opening drive to march down the field and get on the board early, or cut the lead down a little bit more?
Yeah, no, they need to really keep the same kind of plays going like they had in their last drive. They marched all the way down the field. They scored a touchdown, got the 2-point conversion. They need to play like a number 1 seeded team, like an undefeated team. You need to play with a little bit of swagger, a little bit of pep in their step, go down the field. Dylan Gabriel was hitting his dudes on the last possession. He'll look to do that again, still without Jordan James, it looks like. So they'll go with Whittington here.
And Whittington's going to get the inside zone carry, and he's going to be dragged down by Tyleek Williams, the senior, making a good play to open up this second half. And yeah, interesting. Whittington starting at running back. No Jordan James. We saw him go back in that locker room early in that second quarter. Still have not seen him walk back out yet.
Yeah, it's going to be a big loss. I mentioned it before, 1,200 rushing yards on the year for Jordan James. Dylan Gabriel, I think he's got to use his arm more. He's a Heisman finalist. He's top 4 in the voting. Let him sling it.
It's going to be second down. Gabriel tries to spin out of a tackle, and he's going to be taken down. The second sack that he takes, and it's going to be by Hamilton, loss of 12. And I think Jack Sawyer was also in that as well. We've said Jack Sawyer's in plenty of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, this is that strong defensive line that I talked about during the halftime break of Ohio State, and now it's 3rd and forever for Oregon.
Here we go. Big play needed for Oregon if they want to make something happen. Gabriel avoids a couple of sacks, now fires, and it's going to be caught along the sideline. A little toe drag swag there by Lowe. Second time we're calling his name. It's going to depend on the spot. It's right near that far side first down marker, but good way to keep the feet in.
Yeah, they're looking to mark him just a little bit short. Great job from Lowe. It was hard to get that. He got both feet down, actually. It was hard to mark that a first down just because he was falling forwards in front of the line to gain as he caught that one. So now it's 4th and 1. Keep the offense out there.
Call there, and Gabriel's going to keep it on the read option. It's going to depend on the spot. I think he got it, and yes, the line judge, he's going to give it to him. Good keeper there by Gabriel. OSU stacked the box. He saw it immediately and took it out of Whittington's chest to get the first down.
Yeah, good read there from QB1, taking that right out after I believe that is number 6 for Ohio State. That's Sonny Styles kind of crashed in. So good read there from the lefty QB.
Able to convert out of a 3rd and 22. Big plays there for Oregon as he finds a crosser wide open. That's going to be number 3, Ferguson, the tight end. That's his 3rd catch for 36 yards and another Oregon first down.
Yeah, there you go. Now they're moving down the field. They're looking like they've been doing all year long. They've been kind of executing this nice little short crosser to the big tight end. Hard to take him down. It was Styles chasing him, and they're moving fast as well.
Empty set here on 1st and 10. He's going to fire quickly to his running back, Whittington, on the comeback route. Quick gain of 5. It's going to be 2nd and medium.
That's a nice little kind of curl route there for Whittington along the sideline. Not often you see the running back go out wide. Good job there bringing it down.
It's going to be 2nd and 5. And once we have a short break, we have a couple of notes here for this Oregon offense as we have a little draw play, and I think this is a good time to call. It's going to be 3rd and medium, but Jordan James has been officially ruled out of the game, and their Z receiver, Evan Stewart, the junior, who I don't think we've called yet today, but he's made impacts for this Ducks team. He also is out as he got hurt in warm-ups, interestingly enough. coming ahead of this Rose Bowl. So 2 offensive weapons down for Oregon as they have a long way to go if they want to come back now.
Those are big blows. Evan Stewart, the game's leading receiver, with 149 yards off of 7 catches and a touchdown back in October when they played Ohio State. And that's probably the worst thing that can happen. It's over 600 yards for the Ducks this year.
Gabriel drops back, fires across the middle, and he's got Holden for a first down. Contested grab made, give him 15 yards, and that was a nice tight spiral there for Gabriel.
Yeah, now they're moving down the field. I talked about this even as this game started. I think that, or I said that Oregon, I thought, was going to get off to a better start in the second half than the first half. But now the question is after this drive, can the defense hold Ohio State down?
Play action, Gabriel looking right now, rolls left. He's got time, fires across his body. He's got Ferguson, who hurdles and falls at the 4-yard line. Pickup of 25 yards. That's his second catch of the drive, and he's making some big plays for this Ducks team in the early of the second half.
Yeah, the big man getting up there a little bit, kind of hopping over a defender, actually fell down at the start of that play trying to block. Good job from Gabriel rolling out, makes Styles kind of come in to try to cut off an angle, leaves Ferguson open kind of underneath.
It's going to be first and goal from the 3-yard line as Jaden Limer, the fourth back on this depth chart, is going to get the handoff. It's going to be just a normal inside zone. He'll probably get half of it, maybe give him a yard and a half. It'll be second and around 2 with 9:35 and change.
Go to Limar there, like you said, the 4th string running back. Only 67 yards on the season. Just got about 70 off after that handoff.
See what Oregon dials up here. 2nd and 2 from the 2. Already have taken up 6 minutes of the third quarter. Trying to take back some of this time of possession. Time is running low on the play clock, and they're going to have to take a timeout. No one was set. Yeah, and Land's going to come flying from the sideline to get the timeout. And they're going to take time to discuss things.
Yeah, see him run all the way down there. That's unfortunate. You don't want to use a timeout, especially when you're trying to come back down 26 in the second half. You have to burn one in the red zone on like the 3-yard line when your team isn't set. So that's a little rough there for Lanning and his Ducks.
And they just took a quick commercial break, but we'll just keep it here because we know that they're most likely to score, so they're going to go to break after. But yeah, so far, great opening drive to start the second half for Oregon. I mean, you got Ferguson getting involved early with 2 catches. They converted a 3rd and 22 deep inside their own territory. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of seeing that same 13-0 Oregon team that we saw earlier in the season come out firing. And now they're going to have to kind of like claw back slowly, but this has probably been the best case scenario that they could have had besides a 1 or 2 play touchdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't want to take the long drives necessarily. Like, you'll obviously take those quicker drives. Oregon's had the ball. Despite, the score, Oregon's had the ball for a full over 7 minutes longer than Ohio State has in terms of time of possession. So you don't really want those long drives because you're trying to come back from a large deficit. But at the same time, as long as you're able to cash in, it slowly builds momentum, slowly closes that gap. And I think Dylan Gabriel's looked pretty good on this drive, hitting Ferguson, hitting Holden as well. Some of his go-to guys, and that loss of Stewart and James is definitely something that no matter the outcome of this game is going to be looked at, especially if they are able to move on and complete this miraculous comeback, what their this decision is going to be like against the Longhorns, if they're able to play or not.
Well, if they're able to make this comeback, what a quarterfinal we will see.
Yeah.
And this is just the third game. We still have one more to go tomorrow between Notre Dame and Georgia. But yeah, it's been one heck of a drive for Oregon to start it off, but it's still mind-boggling that Ohio State just almost 400 total yards in 14 and a half minutes of possession time. And I'm curious, if Oregon does score a touchdown here, it'll be 34-15. So they're still up 19 points. They'll still be up 3 possessions.
Yeah.
Is your mentality, are you still going to try and air it out deep like they have been that entire first half? Or are you going to try and settle it down, kind of take control of time of possession like Oregon is doing this drive with their 2 star-studded running backs?
Well, I mean, that's up to Chip Kelly. And I think that if Jeremiah Smith is open, which he's been all game, I don't see why you don't throw it to him, try to ice it. I mean, it's sort of like that kind of running it out is going to be beneficial in terms of time management, but at the same time, if it ain't broke, you don't want to fix it. And if they try to cut off Jeremiah Smith, Egbuka is going to be open, and vice versa. So I think they should just keep doing what they had been doing that entire first half. The passing game looked amazing, so did the run game. So I think that really leaves any option open for the Buckeyes.
And we are back here live in Pasadena. This drive, Dylan Gabriel's 5 for 5 for 83 yards. And Whittington is back in the backfield once again. So he just took a break for one play as Limer got the 1-yard rush. Under center goes Gabriel, 2nd and goal, 9:01 left in this third quarter. It's just going to be a quick inside handoff. I think he's going to be marked just short. No signal yet. Oh, yes, there it is. Touchdown. Noah Whittington gets back-to-back touchdowns for the Ducks. And, yeah, Dan Lanning's going to signal for the extra point, the PAT. It's 34-14.
All right, so there's Oregon getting back-to-back touchdown drives, settling in nicely after the abysmal, I'd say, first 25 minutes, really, of this game. Whittington, second-string running back, gets in there. Kind of had a little bit of trouble on the handoff. Good job lowering the shoulder, diving across. Does look like he gets the ball, breaking the plane there. Great job by that front 5 for Oregon as well, just pushing up. It's a 75-yard drive. Took over 6 minutes off the clock. So now, like you said, Ethan, it's going to be interesting to see what the Buckeyes do in terms of offensive schemes.
The PAT is good, 34-15. The Buckeyes are still up 3 possessions, but flawless back-to-back touchdown drives for the Ducks. And it looks like, yeah, I think ESPN's going to keep it on the field, so I guess we will stay. Actually, no, they're going to take a break. So, yeah, we're going to take a quick break. We will be back. Ethan Bonheur, Owen, Heffron live on Given 5 Media. Make sure to subscribe and like. 8:55 to go in this third quarter. We will be back. cutting down this lead. 8:55 to go in this third quarter, and it'll be interesting to see how OSU comes out of the locker room, whether it's guns blazing and just airing it out like they have been that entire first half, or if they try and settle down and kind of take control in that run game.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Buka have been two super long targets. Smith has 5 catches for 160 yards, averaging over 32 yards per reception. Pair that with 2 touchdowns. I think Buka has a 42-yard touchdown of his own, 3 more catches, and all that totaling up for 68 yards. And out of those guys, G. Scott on the first play of the game, 30-yard reception, and then Carnell Tate, the sophomore, has one of his own for 10 yards. So they haven't had to do much on offense. They've really just, and Will Howard only 11 completions so far in this game. They've just been finding big plays really no matter what. And it's just been a fun game to watch all around, I'd say.
Sappington gets a little kick off. This be fair call at the 10-yard line. So the ball is going to be brought out to the 25-yard line for 1st and 10. Is they're showing right now Oregon just waving their towels all around. They're trying to get their crowd hyped up in Pasadena. So it's going to be a little inside handoff to Travion Henderson. Only 3 yards. Good stand by that Oregon defense.
Henderson is the man who broke off that huge 66-yard touchdown. It's only his 4th carry in this one.
Time taken, 8:30 left in this third quarter as Oregon needs any stop possible right now. And they just showed actually Jordan James in street clothes on the sideline. He had a little head injury, so he'll be ruled out for the rest of the game as Will Howard fires quickly towards that near side. And it's going to be Abuka who gets taken down immediately after a 40-yard catch. It's going to be a 3rd and 3. Big play for Oregon.
Yeah, that's a great tackler. It's Jabbar Muhammad, who I talked about a little bit of the swagger coming out of this first half, coming into the second half, and he kind of stepped over Ibuka after making that big tackle, kind of showing off just a little bit. But Ohio State only had to punt once so far in this first half, and so far in this game. So now it's a big 3rd down, huge for the Ducks right now.
Pressure coming at Howard, and that ball's going to be floated out of bounds too high for Abuka. The pressure was by Derek Harmon, the junior, who came flying around the edge, and Will Howard had no time to let the play develop. And it looks like Oregon's kind of flipping the script a little bit here as they're going to force a 3-and-out in Ohio State, and they're going to get the ball back once again.
Yeah, well, I talked about applying that pressure, making Howard kind of force some throws and not have enough time to let, long routes to Smith or Ibuka develop. That's exactly what the Ducks just did right there with Derek Harmon getting in there and forcing it. Now Ohio State's going to have to punt for only the 2nd time so far.
Joe McGuire boots it away, and it's going to be fair caught at the 25-yard line. So Oregon, they're set up now to cut it to 2 possessions. They're down 19 here against the Buckeyes, the 8 seed versus the 1 seed in Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. 7:21 to go. We will be back after this quick break. Ethan Bonheur, Owen Heffron bringing to you this presentation live on Given 5 Media. Make sure to subscribe and like. alongside Owen, Heffron, and Oregon starting to mount a comeback here early in the second half. They were down 34-0 with 2 seconds left at the end of the first half. It's now 34-15, and they have the ball back as Gabriel looks across his body. It's almost intercepted. The ball got tipped up into the air, but Ferguson was the intended target. But yeah, starting to mount a comeback, down 19, and they have the ball at their own 25.
Yeah, it really looked like at the end of that last Ohio State drive where they forced to punt it, there was a lot of momentum, a lot of enthusiasm on the Oregon sideline, which definitely helps an offense and diminishes a defense.
So it's going to be 2nd and 10. They're going to try and gain some of this back. Last drive, they converted a 3rd and 22. They went for it on 4th and 1, and they got it on a read option with Gabriel. As Gabriel drops back, looks, checks his reads, fakes, and now he's going to be taken down in the backfield for a sack. 3rd one of the day for the Buckeyes defense. This one, it's going to be Ty Hamilton and Jack Sawyer, both seniors who have played phenomenally today.
Yeah, Sawyer coming around the blind side is Gabriel is a lefty, so it makes it hard for especially that right end. Now the right tackle is the blind side blocker, and now they're going to go 5 wide is Oregon with 3rd in California to go.
I like the 3rd in California. It's 3rd and 17. They were at a 3rd and 22 last drive. They got 21 of it there, as we will see. They can do it once again. Similar spot, deep inside their own territory as Gabriel steps up. Pressure coming. He's going to be taken down once again. This time it's Cody Simon. He was originally the QB spy, but now gets back-to-back sacks for this Buckeye defense.
Yeah, the middle linebacker making a big play, sacking the quarterback. That's just smart football. Middle linebacker is often, kind of the captain of the defense. And like you said, he was the QB spy, kind of making sure Gabriel didn't have time to scramble out of there, and then makes, his own decision. No one's telling him to do that. It's not in the play. He decides to rush Gabriel, and that results in a loss. And it's going to set Ohio State up in some good field position.
And Dunn is back in his own end zone to boot it away. And it's going to be signal. It's going to roll into Ohio State territory. Not a bad kick. It's going to be officially at Ohio State 44-yard line. 5:34 to go in this 3rd quarter as Ohio State looks to take advantage of those 2 sacks. We will be back. Ethan Bonheur, Owen Heffron. We're going to send it to break. We will be back shortly after this. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Give 'em 5 Media. Ethan Bonheur alongside Owen Heffron, and Ohio State has the ball back up 19. This is Howard's just going to check it down, and it's going to be nice over-the-shoulder toe drag swag grab there by Travion Henderson, but only gets one. Oregon and Ohio State playing in the Rose Bowl here. The winner goes on to play Texas, who had an incredible game against Arizona State in the Peach Bowl earlier today. Went into double overtime. Texas came out on top 39-31 after a game-sealing interception against the ASU quarterback, Sam Levitt, as we have trips to the right, and that's exactly where it's going to go. It's going to go to Travion Henderson, who's going to make a move, and who's going to get absolutely bodied right at the line of scrimmage. What a hit there by Reed.
Yeah, Nico Reed laying the boom out for Travion Henderson. They go 5 wide, trips right. They really spread the defense out, go to the screen pass. They saw him go to Henderson out of the backfield last time. This time they go to on a screen pass. They like to use him in the passing game, but a beautiful hit from the Ducks and a big 3rd and 8 right now.
3rd and 8, a stop is going to be needed here by Oregon if they want to try and mount a comeback here. Howard drops back, looks towards the slant round. He's got Jeremiah Smith. The first time we're calling his name, it's felt like forever after the plays he was making in that first half, but 11 minutes in, he gets a 10-yard grab.
Yeah, good good physicality. There's the word I was trying to think of. Right at the line on the press coverage, kind of bouncing off. He's got himself 171 yards now in this game so far. I mean, like you said, haven't called his name in the second half so far, but now that we do, it's on a crucial 3rd and 8.
Now it's to be 1st and 10. First play inside Oregon territory for Ohio State in this half as Howard's going to roll left out of the play action. Pressure coming now, floats it over, and it's going to be caught by Smith once again. Leaping grab, able to get the foot and covered by Reed, but it does not matter. First down, Buckeyes.
Yeah, what a great jumping grab by Jeremiah Smith. And it's 10 targets, 7 receptions, 2 touchdowns, 187 yards. But I want to put emphasis on Will Howard's ability to, roll to his left, his weak side, and then be able to flip his hips over, set his feet, and then loft one that's right over the head of the DB as well. Great all-around play on both sides from hand to the 2 hands of Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, we've been giving high praise to both Ibuka, Henderson too, I guess, on that touchdown run, and Smith, of course, but Will Howard having an excellent day for himself as well. As it's going to be an inside handoff there so that's going to be Judkins. He's going to bounce it outside, and he's going to be dragged out of bounds at the 18-yard line. But I think, there's going to be flags thrown there. It's going to be a face mask penalty against Oregon. We haven't seen that many flags. It's actually maybe the first one we've seen all game. So it's been a pretty clean game up to this point, but that's going to be a big one no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. That was just, they got Jabbar Muhammad there, not trying to, you're almost never trying to grab the face mask of an opponent unless you got some serious beef with them. But I mean, that time, just trying to grab him, kind of steer him out of bounds, grabbed him by the face mask, spun him. It's going to draw a flag every time, and now Ohio State set up in prime real estate here.
I would love to see another OBJ Josh Norman incident. maybe soon if it happens. But yeah, here we go. 1st and goal, 8-yard line. Howard in the pistol formation now goes under center. It's going to be Henderson in the backfield. Motion man from right to left. It's going to be a toss play. Henderson's got a convoy. He's going to hurdle his way into the end zone. Travion Henderson with his 2nd touchdown of the day. This one goes for 8 yards out, and Ohio State has a 40-piece.
Wow, I mean, what a show of offense. You're putting up 40 on the number 1 team in the nation. And this defense definitely, not as good as Ohio State's, but still. Travion Henderson, 2 rushing touchdowns on the day now for number 32. And it really not that many carries either. I believe he's only got, I want to say, around 4 or 5 carries in this game so far. Used him a lot in the receiving game as well. Went to, I believe, 3 times on that drive. Howard, he set up in the shotgun and then walked up under center, put a man in motion, which kind of shifted the linebackers over, but then great blocking as well from the tight end. So, yeah, only 4 carries for Travion Henderson, but 81 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, crazy. He's averaging 20 yards a carry. And earlier, he had that 66-yard rushing touchdown to kind of just explode this entire OSU offense and just expose that Ducks defense. But now they're up 26 once again, and slowly but surely that the chances that Oregon can kind of mount a comeback here slowly fading. It's now a 4-possession game once again, 2:19 to go in this third quarter. I feel like it's kind of flown by, and just an interesting stat: 144 rushing yards for OSU, -8 for Oregon. Like, what does that speak about how important Jordan James is to this Oregon offense? I'm going to say it. You've already said it plenty of times too. 1,200 rushing yards for the man himself throughout the season, and that really shows. Negative rushing yards through 43 minutes of game time. It's incredible a difference that he is on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's negative 0.4 yards per rush. And of course, in college, they factor in quarterbacks being sacked into that, but that's still just an incredible stat to see. It's really just astonishing. And Jordan James is actually still, despite being out the majority of this game, the team's leading rusher with 14 yards. Whittington hasn't even surpassed that just yet.
Here we go. Empty set for Gabriel as the motion man comes. It's going to be a little screenplay. It's going to be number 18, Sadiq, who's going to get out of bounds after picking up the first down. Good job staying in bounds and getting as many yards as possible. Yeah, first down Oregon.
Yeah, sophomore tight end for the Ducks. It's a good catch and run. So now Oregon's going to be moving fast here. They got a lot more points to make up.
Running back to his right, Gabriel has time now, just dumps it off underneath. That's going to be Whittington, who's going to get just a quick pickup of 8, 150 and counting. And yeah, Oregon, they're going to keep playing that 2-minute offense now. They don't have much time to kind of play around. They have to go 26. They're down by 4 possessions as Gabriel drops back. And again, he's looking for Whittington, but this time it's going to be swatted down. I think that was Jack Sawyer. What a day he is having.
Yeah, how many times have we seen Jack Sawyer get up there and, cut off a play or make a tackle for loss, get to Gabriel, in the pocket or force him out, make him have a bad throw. He's been all up in Dylan Gabriel's face and right in the backfield, kind of as soon as plays happen, he's right there. So great job from Jack Sawyer in this game.
Big 3rd and 2 coming for Gabriel and this Oregon offense. See what they can do. 5 left on the play clock. They got to go. They don't look right. 3, 2, 1, zeros. They get the playoff barely as Gabriel steps up looking for a lane, and he's going to be dropped down for a sack once again. I think this time it was Ransom. Yeah, it's going to be number 8 for the Buckeyes. It's Lathan Ransom, the senior.
Well, it's Whittington's job in pass protection to block Ransom there. It's no easy task, but it also just wasn't well done at all by number 6, our backup running back. Just led to an easy route to the quarterback for Ohio State. Now on 4th and 4, they're going to punt it away.
Busy day for that Oregon punter, Luke Dunn. There's 50 seconds to go here, and I think now for Oregon, they're going to have to start going for 4th downs once they get the ball back, if they ever get back in this situation, is Will Howard, who has just been taking control of this game for the past 45 minutes. He's going to walk back on the field with 300 yards already and 3 passing touchdowns. And yeah, like you said, sea of red. So many Ohio State fans made it down to Pasadena to support their fellow Buckeyes. And yeah, they're going to keep it here. So I think we will too. Let's see. Yeah, they're going to keep it here. So, yeah, 15:43 left to go in game time, kind of slowly slipping away for the Ducks. But, yeah, what a game Ohio State is playing. So here we go. Judkins is in the backfield for the Buckeyes, and it's going to be a little counterplay right to him. He's got a nice hole, and Quinshon Judkins is going to get a gain of 12, but there's a flag on the play. One of the rare times we've seen one, and it's going to be holding on offense. Yeah, Ryan Day does not look happy with the call. It's going to be holding against Ohio State.
No, he doesn't like that at all. It's a great first down run for Quinshon Judkins. Don't know who exactly they got the hold on. So that's going to push them back a good amount. But it was great blocking on that play from number 11. That's the wide receiver, Brandon Innes, a sophomore. He was really hyped up after blocking for Judkins there.
I think the penalty was on Will Kaczmarek, the backup tight end. He's kind of pulling as that pulling tight end and just gets a hold of the pad and just holds him for a little too long. So here we go. Last play of this third quarter, most likely, and it's just going to be an inside give again to Judkins. This time it's going absolutely nowhere, stuffed right at the 10-yard line. Give him one, but that'll do it for this third quarter. Ohio State just 15 minutes away from moving on and playing Texas in the semifinals. Ethan Bonheur, Owen Heffron, live on Given 5 Media. Make sure to subscribe and like. Thank you for so much for tuning in. We'll be back after the short break for the last 15 minutes. Welcome back to Give 'em 5 Media, as Ohio State just 15 minutes away from punching their ticket to the semifinal game against the Texas Longhorns. It's going to be, they're setting themselves up 2nd and 15 from their own 10-yard line. And that's Quinshon Judkins in the backfield, and that's who they're going to give it to, looking for a hole, and he's going to fall forward for a pickup of 4, 3rd and 11.
Yeah, Will Howard has really been that guy all game long, I'd say. In October 12th, back when these two teams played, he had his Ohio State career high in passing yards for 326. He's across that 300 mark now. He was hyping up that crowd at the end of the third quarter, really getting them riled up. It's 3rd and 11 now for the Buckeyes, and like you said, they're looking to punch their way into a semifinal game against Texas, which it looks like that's the way it's going to go.
Ohio State 4 for 8 on third downs. They're averaging 5.5 per third down, and he's going to be taken down right away. The first time we've kind of seen Oregon bring that pass rush and have it come alive as they sack Howard for the first time today. That's Harmon bringing the heat, and Oregon's going to get the ball back.
Yeah, the clock is still running, though. It's a good job from Harmon. Like you said, really the first time that OSU line has had that pocket collapse so fast like that. This game down 26 with 13 and a half left it's going to be tough, down by 4 scores. So we'll see what the Ducks tend to do here.
McGuire sends it away, and it's going to be fair caught by Johnson at his 48-yard line. 52 away from the end zone, and what a scene it is in Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. Always a great scene for whoever gets to play in there. It's California. It's great. Both Oregon and Ohio State. Two amazing teams we get to see in college football, and we just went to break, so you might as well. We'll stay here for a little bit longer as there's a little TV commercial. Mm-hmm. But 13:36 to go. Owen, I'm going to ask you because I feel like there's been so many players you can say have been that MVP for Ohio State. I mean, you have Will Howard, who you talked about. You have Jeremiah Smith, even Travion Henderson, who's only had 5-6 touches. And then obviously on the defense too, like Jack Sawyer, what a game he's having. Who is your MVP for this OSU team today against the number 1 team in the country?
I mean, I think it has to be Jeremiah Smith. This is the most receiving yards he's had all year in any game. His second most was in just week 2 of the season against Western Michigan when they blew him out 56-0. I was my player to watch, kind of talking about him a lot. I know we had the technical difficulties, so I'm not sure if everyone watching really heard me talk about the true freshman, but 7 catches for 187 yards. He's really a deep threat. But I think honestly, he's really capable of more. I think that when Egbuka leaves this past year and in the draft, he'll obviously get drafted. And then I think that Smith is going to have to step up. I think we'll see him used maybe in the more medium route concepts and everything. But Will Howard as well. I don't want to discredit the game that he's having with over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns as well. But I think my player of the game as of right now is Jeremiah Smith, averaging nearly 27 yards per reception and then 2 scores.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you, but I'm gonna kind of shift it over. I'm gonna go Will Howard. I'll just say that just because once you get off to an early start, it's kind of hard to stop the momentum. Mm-hmm. And we saw almost 200 of his passing yards came in that first quarter. I said earlier, and same thing. Like I don't know if people heard it because of technical difficulties, but he was on pace for 800 yards in 8 touchdowns. Yeah. Like realistically, that's not happening. But still, 200 passing yards in that first quarter with 2 touchdowns. Ever since that Michigan loss, he has looked like a way different player between playing in Tennessee. I mean, they missed out on the Big Ten championship because of that. So being in the first round game against Tennessee looked phenomenal. And then now into this game, over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks, almost a flawless game for him. He's looked phenomenal. And where he's been placing balls for his receivers to go up and get, like 3 40-yard touchdown strikes. It's just been a crazy game for Will Howard, and I respect what he's done heavily. Is we have a trick play to open up this TV. Yeah, wow. So coming out of break, Dylan Gabriel kind of lateraled it back. I think that was to Tez Johnson. He tried to flip it over to the other side of the field, but there was no one over there. It's going to be 2nd and 10.
I think that was actually backup quarterback Dante Moore, number 5. that was trying to flip it over there. So just a failed trick play. It's kind of really too late to use it to, kind of come close in this game, but it's cool to see that Lanning had that in his back pocket.
Yeah, that was Dante Moore. That's my fault. 2nd and 10, 4 receivers split, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. Quick play action. He's going to find his receiver, Bryant, his first catch of the day. Gary Bryant Jr., who has been a pretty reliable receiver for this Ducks offense, finally getting involved, but 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, that's not a great time to have your first catch.
Yeah, the Oregon Ducks have had 7 guys catch a pass so far in this game, and Ohio State only 5. So it really looks like on paper, in terms of time of possession and player usage, the Ducks should be playing a lot better than they have been.
There's Whittington that goes out in motion, and Gabriel's going to look the other way and find his tight end Ferguson, who's been Mr. Reliable for him today. I mean, talk about Johnson, how great he's been, but Ferguson, that's his 5th catch for 71 yards, and he's been kind of that go-to man that we've seen today. And yeah, Oregon's going to go quick. So they're at the Ohio State 35. Gabriel, pressure again, rolls out to his left, running out of time, fires, and he's going to go out of bounds. Good coverage on the back end by Ohio State. It's going to be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, forcing Dylan Gabriel out to his left. Obviously, he's more comfortable there being a lefty, but still, whenever a quarterback is having to run outside the pocket, trying to evade these 300-pound linemen, it's never, nice and easy. So now 2nd and 10 does stop the clock, but 12 and a half minutes is not easy to try to score 26 points.
That was a junior, Caden Curry, I think, coming around the edge, forcing him to roll out as Gabriel looks. It's going to be a little screen play there to Holden. Holden not going to get much. He fumbles the ball at the end of the play. I think they're going to call him down. Yeah, they're going to call him down after a gain of 7. It's going to be a 3rd and 3. And yeah, they're going to go quick.
Yeah, again, they're working really fast here.
They're down 26. They have to go. Gabriel takes the empty set snap, looks, has plenty of time. Great protection by that O-line. Now it's starting to collapse, and he's going to be taken down from behind. And Caden Curry, who brought the pressure 2 plays ago, gets his first sack of the day, loss of 8, and it's going to be 4th and 11.
Yeah, that's great pass blocking by the Ducks. And just unfortunately, it's the same sort of thing we saw. I believe that was Cody Simon, the middle linebacker, talked about it last quarter with the QB spy then collapsing down to apply the pressure. Same thing happened there, and just no routes developing the way that Gabriel would have liked. And that eventually, all those D linemen are going to be forced to come down there.
Well, here you go. If you want to call this the game, this is it. 4th and 11. He's going to fire underneath. Tez Johnson, he's got a long way to go. Makes a couple of moves, and he's going to pick up the first down. What a play by your wide receiver 1. Tez Johnson keeps the Ducks in it.
Tez Johnson really shifty in open space there. Nice kind of back juke, and then puts his foot in the ground and dives forward to get that first down. Great job moving the chains. You think if Oregon's able to score here, they're obviously going to go for the touchdown, but see a few onside kicks.
We've only seen 1 converted onside kick successfully, and that was the Hoosiers baby against Notre Dame, even though it didn't really matter. But Gabriel is going to fire underneath. Dangerous ball tipped up into the air. Noah Whittington and Dalen Gabriel not on the same page there. It's going to be 2nd and 10.
This one kind of off the back right hand of Whittington. That's a ball that's maybe just a little too far for a running back. He's not the most skilled in the receiving game.
10:30 to go, 2nd and 10. Ohio State dropping 5 people back deep as Gabriel looks deep. Now he's going to step up, being chased behind. He's going to lateral it backwards to Whittington. He's going to try and hurdle. What a play there. Very eventful. A few things happen, but it's going to work out for the Ducks. It's going to be a first down.
That's a beautiful play. That's why Dylan Gabriel's a Heisman finalist right there. Even though he's out of the pocket, he's looking to run, he still has that awareness. He's got his near 30 touchdown passes on the year. That comes with so much awareness. And it's also the fact that if you look back on that play, he's looking dead ahead immediately. You couldn't even tell that he saw Whittington to his right. The last second he turns and he laterals it to help Whittington pick up that first down. That's a great play from Dillon Gabriel, especially as all the Buckeyes were collapsing in. It's definitely a legal lateral. It's a great job. Perfectly unexpected, catches the Buckeyes off guard.
We've seen a couple of, I mean, that wasn't a designed play to say the least, but we saw earlier with the backup quarterback coming in for Oregon, kind of trying to make a play there with Dante Moore. But then now you have Dillon Gabriel making his own kind of trick play there with Noah Whittington as he tried to hurdle over Igbinosun. But we're going to go to a quick break. We will be back shortly. Give them 5 Media. Make sure to subscribe and like. We will be back. 10-14 left in the fourth quarter. OSU, Oregon Rose Bowl. $10-14 to go. OSU 41, the Ducks in Eugene 15. 2nd and 10 from the OSU 24 as we had a little trick play to start it off. It was Dillon Gabriel lateraling it back to Noah Whittington, who went airborne trying to go over Igbinosun, but ended up getting 12 yards and a first down.
I think they're actually going to call this back and say that it wasn't a backwards pass.
Wow. It looked from the angle we saw it, it looked clean, but yeah, it's going to be 3rd and 13 now instead. 4 receivers at the top as Gabriel drops back, looks pressure coming, now floats it towards the far side, and it's going to be caught in the end zone. That is Trayshawn Holden putting the Ducks on the board. They are now within 20. What a play by the Ducks.
Second touchdown of the game for Holden. That play doesn't even matter. I think that why they called that back is because when Gabriel lateraled it, Whittington was behind him, but then when he caught the ball, it was a yard before, and now the Ducks are going to go for 2.
Trayshawn Holden got the touchdown to open up the Ducks scoring. Then we have a little wildcat scenario here. It's going to be inside handoff, and it's going to be stopped short. That's number 18 for the Ducks. Who I think I missed that. I don't know. I think that was it was Sadiq.
Yeah.
It was the backup tight end, the sophomore. But yeah, what a pass there by the Heisman finalist to get Holden in the end zone.
With Jack Sawyer in his face as well, and then nice concentration there from Holden with his second grab. He's got himself 7 catches for 116 yards as well, and he only had 1 catch versus Ohio State back in October for 32 yards, but still now he's having himself a breakout game in the Rose Bowl.
Here we go. 10 minutes to go. Do we see an onside kick here possibly from Oregon? I mean, time is slowly running out, so you kind of got to go here. But if they got to score on that possession where they punted, it would be a way different game right now. It'd be two possessions. They can easily boot it away to Ohio State, but now it's 3. And it looks like, yeah, they're going to go an onside kick here. Let's see what happens. Only one onside kick has been converted successfully. It was IU against Notre Dame. Did not really matter. The final score is still 27-17. No, they're actually going to boot it away. It's going to be like a little squib kick. They're going to try and pin him back deep. Smart play there by Oregon, faking the onside kick, and they're going to be down inside the 15.
Yeah, well, in college, it's not like the new dynamic kickoff, NFL rules where you have to declare an onside kick or not. So they made OSU think that they were running an onside kick, and they ended up just doing a little squibber. It's a really smart play. It pins the Buckeyes kind of back deep in their own end. Still under 10 minutes left to go, down by 20. You expect Ohio State to just kind of run this one out.
Yep, just under 10 minutes to go. OSU going to try and take control here with Judkins in the backfield with Howard. And Judkins hasn't had that type of game that you would usually see. He's a pretty elusive back as he's going to get it on the counterplay. He's going to bounce it outside on that far side, and Judkins is going to be pushed out of bounds, not after picking up 18. Good play.
Yeah, it's a beautiful counter. They start on the right side. They flip it over back to the left. Judkins just has 2 blockers out there. They run it to the weak side and gets right around to the edge, put it on the burners using his speed, and 165 rushing yards on the day for Ohio State, negative 16 for the Oregon Ducks.
Judkins and Henderson combining for 162 rushing yards. They actually have 81 apiece. Just the difference is one has 10 more carries than the other, which is crazy, as it's going to be an inside handoff again, still to Judkins, and he's going to be right at the line of scrimmage. He's not going to get anything there. Maybe give him 1 depending on the spot, but 9 minutes to go. It's going to be 2nd and 9.
Yeah, well, Judkins back in October when these two teams played, he only had 23 yards off of 11 carries. And then Henderson had a really similar game in terms of stat line. He had 10 carries for 87 yards in the last meeting between the Buckeyes and the Ducks. And then in this game, he has 4 carries for 81 yards. So not as many carries as Judkins, but still in that 80-yard mark.
Yeah, time is slowly ticking as now Henderson replaces Judkins in the backfield. That's what's so nice about having that 1-2 punch. You don't have to worry about who's in the backfield. It's always going to be a powerhouse back. And it's going to be a flip to Henderson, and Henderson's got a lane. He's going to hurdle over a defender, and he's going to be taken down at the 2nd level after getting into Oregon territory. Good catch and run.
Yeah, great run from Travion Henderson, but that snap was so low as well that Will Howard had to kind of squat down, and from that squat position, about maybe half a foot off the ground, he had to flip that ball up so it could hit Henderson in his chest. That's a great adjustment there from the quarterback for the Buckeyes.
And with that catch, Henderson has over 100 yards in scrimmage. He has over 100 total yards. I think the only other player besides Jeremiah Smith for OSU to have over 100 total yards, as Will Howard's going to keep it here on the read option. No Ducks were fooled on that one there. He's going to pick up maybe 7.5 left.
Yeah, I haven't seen Howard use his legs too much. Maybe a little deja vu in last play of the game 2 months or about 3 months ago now is when Howard slid down with 0 seconds left. But he's really looks like in this game he's put that behind him. He's led his team to an amazing game.
So they're actually going to mark it a loss of 1. I think he started his slide motion behind the line of scrimmage, so it's going to end up going for a tackle for loss for Oregon. And now it's just going to be an inside handoff there to Judkins. He's going to get 2, make it 3rd and 9, right inside Oregon territory.
Well, now it's a 3rd down. There's 6.5 minutes left. And, I really think that this is probably the end of the game that we're seeing. But it's been such a good show of strength for the Buckeyes. I mean, in this college football playoff so far, twice as a team scored 40 plus points. It's today with Ohio State scoring 41, and then it's round one when Ohio State put up 42 against Tennessee. So they've really kind of turned into a different animal in this college football playoff bracket so far. And I think that the way it's shaping up, they're going to go and face 5-seeded Texas, and that I think should be the game just on paper of the college football playoff so far.
2 men in the backfield for Ohio State, and Howard's going to drop back. He's going to look for Henderson on the Texas route. It's going to go through his hands and be incomplete, 4th and 9. So Ohio State going to punt it away, but every single play on that drive involved either Will Howard running or a running back through the air or on the ground. Both Judkins and Henderson got involved. We didn't see Ibuka. We did not see Smith, but they got some good time off the clock. So 6:15 to go. Oregon down 20, but they're going to look to pin them deep. And it's going to be tapped at the 2-yard line, but it's going to go in the end zone. It was almost down inside that 5-yard line, but Oregon is going to have a little breathing room. 41-21. Oregon running out of time here in Pasadena in the Rose Bowl as their undefeated streak 6 minutes away from coming to an end. Ethan Bonheur, Owen Heffron, live from Giveify Media. Make sure to subscribe. We will be back after this quick break. Six and change left to go here in the Rose Bowl. Oregon down 20 to the Buckeyes, 41-21. I'm Ethan Bonheur alongside Owen Heffron. And Owen, it kind of looked like that Oregon was going to start a mountain comeback. They ended the first half with a touchdown. Then they started the second half with an opening drive touchdown.
Yep.
And then from there, it's been bits and pieces of it. I mean, they got another one after eventually.
Yeah.
But then OSU, they kind of exploded away again with some bigger plays.
Yeah, it's definitely been an entertaining first half to say the least, or sorry, entertaining game to say the least. The first half, the biggest part of that when Ohio State came out to the hottest start I think we've seen a team get out to in this college football playoff, really. And I think we've had two, two kind of similar-esque games. Ethan, we covered Clemson, Texas, but one where a team got out in front, and then the team that was below kind of looked like they were getting up to a comeback sort of level, and then a big play from the team that was out in front for the whole game kind of diminished that. But I think that this is just kind of Ohio State showing that their record doesn't reflect the team they are. I mean, they lost to this team, which is one of the losses. Then their other one is Michigan, who they don't have to worry about, who obviously for some reason Ryan Day can't beat them. But I think that Ohio State right now, with the exception of, I would say maybe Texas, is the best team that's remaining in this college football playoff. I think I could confidently say that.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. Like, we're 5 minutes away from possibly seeing this matchup in the future. But yeah, while we were just talking, we had a couple plays that just happened. So we had like opening play for Oregon. They had a 5-yard Dylan Gabriel rush up the middle. Then Lowe on a quick comeback route catch. He got 6 yards on that, giving them the first down. And then they just had Noah Whittington come down with a nice one-handed grab, but they're currently reviewing it to see if it touched the ground. So right now they're sitting at a 2nd and 6 if it stands at their own 35-yard line. But yeah, no, of course, Texas, Ohio State, that would be a tremendous game. I mean, we'll wait and see until like around the 2-minute warning if the score kind of holds up, because we don't want to really jump the gun, according to our producer Jacob Kaplan. But yeah, up 20, they look pretty comfortable heading into the semifinals. But obviously, Oregon, they're going to try and put up as many points as possible so the loss doesn't look as bad. But despite everything that's happened for Oregon, they've had a tremendous season. Like, they played phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Undefeated until the quarterfinals of the college football playoff. You lose to, a stacked team. It's just, I really think it's in terms of freshness, is the Noah Whittington catch stands, but just that bye, it's meant to help. I really just think it messes up some teams in terms of rhythm. When you're a team that's Oregon and you're rolling and you've been hot and you're winning every single week dating back, to September, that long break is going to mess you up. When no break has been, like 3.5 weeks, like the one that they are facing right now since the Big Ten championship. So I think that is kind of something that needs to be looked at. I know the college football playoff is still very new, and there's going to be adjustments that are made in the next upcoming seasons, but I think that's something that needs to be looked at as well.
Yeah, of course. And like you said it earlier too, that all teams that have had that bye week have lost, and we're just under 5 minutes away from that being 3 for 3. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Georgia, not even with their starting quarterback. So it'll be kind of interesting to see with Gunnar Stockton. And honestly, from my perspective, I honestly think for Georgia, especially for having a backup come in, I think it'll honestly be better because he doesn't have those reps. So it's not Carson Beck kind of feeling himself like he's had that confidence. It's a new guy, fresh. I think it'll be easier for Georgia, but here we go. 3rd and 14 for Dylan Gabriel, as there was intentional grounding on that 2nd down play. And he's going to be taken down in the backfield after a couple of pump fakes. That is Cody Simon once again, the middle linebacker who's just been everywhere on the field for this Buckeyes defense.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just Simon standing in front of Gabriel, not wanting him to scramble out, and then making that smart decision to step up, close off those angles, and he gets to him, and now Oregon's going to be forced to punt.
The edge rusher is making such a big difference in this game for the Buckeyes. Even on that 3-man pressure, the edge rushers made Gabriel roll out within 3 seconds as the punt is sent away, and they're going to be pinned inside their own 40, put it at 38 to be exact. So 1st and 10, Ohio State, they're just going to run the ball out here live in Pasadena, the Rose Bowl. I mean, what a game that this has been for Ohio State. I mean, there was a lot of noise that they created going into that Tennessee game where they just blew the brakes off them, essentially. They played probably their best football of the year. But then coming into this, you wouldn't really expect much higher from them. But here they are beating the Ducks by 20, possibly more, depending on what happens on this drive.
Yeah, they're beating the number 9 seed and the number 1 seed. They put up 40 on both of them. You just talked about Cody Simon making the sack on that last play. He's got 3 tackles for loss, 11 total tackles, and then 2 sacks. Both, as a QB spy, then coming down. But this is a big win for the Buckeyes. This is a huge game for Ryan Day as well. I'm kind of silencing all the noise and then playing a strong, very strong team in Texas that has a lot of weapons. That I think Quinn Ewers is going to have to prove some things as well in that game. Had an interception today, and now he's going to face an even tougher defense in the Buckeyes. So it's just been a strong Rose Bowl all around from Ohio State.
Yeah, so 3.5 minutes to go as Travion Henderson gets the first down run. He gets a nice gain of 7, and they're going to go right back to him on the counter play. We've seen a lot of that counter play, and it's worked time and time again as Henderson gets another 5 yards and a first down. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, like you said, too, like with Quinn Ewers used to be on Ohio State, actually, and then he transferred to Texas. So going to be facing his former team. It'll be interesting. And I'm curious to see if Penn State and Ohio State match up in the Natty, where both coaches in the hot seat, they face off in probably good positions for themselves. So honestly, that would be kind of interesting. And I think it would be a good game too, because Ohio State, they sold themselves there on not being able to play in that Big Ten championship against Oregon. So
well, you're talking about next round. I mean, Ohio State's 1-2 all time against Texas, so it's not a very common matchup, which I think is something that's awesome about this new 12-team format. Is you get unlikely matchups. Excuse me, but the last time these two teams faced, Ohio and Texas, it was in the 2009 Fiesta Bowl, and Texas won 24-21. So yeah, should be a great game, and like you said, with James Franklin and Ryan Day kind of both in the hot seat, that'll be a great national championship if it ends up coming to that.
And so we've hit the 2-minute warning here in the Rose Bowl. Pasadena, what a sight it is, sea of red. So we're going to take a quick break here on Give 'em 5, 41-21. We're 2 minutes away from seeing Ohio State punch their ticket to the semifinals game against Texas. I'm Ethan Bonheur alongside Owen Heffron. Make sure to subscribe and like. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back after this short break to wrap it up. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Give 'em Five. We are 2 minutes away from crowning the Rose Bowl champion, and it is definitely going to be the Ohio State Buckeyes, who have played such a clean and tremendous game, from the running backs, the defense, Will Howard, everywhere. I feel like you look at any player, that player has had so many impact plays, whether it's a defensive end, quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, just all over.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first drive was only 3 plays. So they went 75 yards in 3 plays, 30-yard reception on the first play to G. Scott, their tight end, who actually hasn't gotten another reception since. And I spoke about it earlier, but they had never had to do too much. They haven't had to hit a billion players. Only 2 guys have more than 5 receptions on Ohio State. That's Igbukah and Smith. Whereas you go over to the Ducks, there's 4 guys with 5 or more receptions. And they just followed their blocking with Judkins and Henderson, both have over 85 yards rushing. And then the big plays. I think that when there's a first half that's as strong as the one that Ohio State put up, I mean, they've only scored 7 points in the second half. But those big plays, they slowly kind of crack down on a defense. And Oregon has a great set of guys on the defensive side of the ball, but Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka they're just better. And they've played better this game, and Will Howard is really feeling himself. And when that happens, you can see that he's really happy with the result of this football game. And I mean, why wouldn't he be? He's really been dicing up the Ducks, like he's serving them for dinner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, number 18 has really been balling out, back-to-back 40 bombs in the college football playoff.
3 straight plays, 3 straight runs, 1 by Judkins, 2 by Henderson, and time is ticking. It's going to be 4th and 13, and Ohio State's going to take a timeout with 30 seconds to go. So that's going to do it pretty much for Ohio State. So we can kind of just look at their offensive stats and the key players. I mean, Will Howard, 319, 3 tutties, outstanding day for him. And then, obviously, I'm going to guess your MVP with Jeremiah Smith, 7 for 187, 192 total yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Travion Henderson, 114 total yards, 8 carries, 94 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Egbuka, 5 for 72 and a touchdown. And then Quinshon Judkins, 17 for 85. What a day for Ohio State. It probably could not have gone any better.
No, it really couldn't have. I mean, 500 total yards of offense. They were 4 for 11 on third downs, yet still put up 500 total yards. They had 319 passing, 181 on the ground, and then only allowing 273 total yards on the defensive side of the ball. In terms of the Ducks, that's how much they put up when, just a couple months ago, they put up 496 on Ohio State. Oregon has negative 26 rushing yards. And I know they were without James this game, but it's still just unbelievable to even speak like an undefeated team that's 13-0 could have a stat line like that.
I think what's interesting, too, is I think the individual stats offensively really prove for Ohio State, but the team stats on defense is what really shows. They had for the rushing yards, like you just said, Oregon allowed 181, Ohio State negative 23. And we know that factors in sacks, which kind of leads to the next point. Oregon, 0 sacks. The offensive line for Ohio State protected Will Howard to extreme measures that's going to do it. That is the final in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State upsets the undefeated Ducks 41-21 in Pasadena, and they've just punched their ticket to the semifinals against the Texas Longhorns. What a game. But like I was saying, Ohio State, they had 8 sacks, 8-0. That is incredible. You don't really see that. But now we look ahead as on January 10th. So in 9 days from now, Ohio State matchup against Texas. I asked you earlier, if you were Texas without this game being played, who would you rather play? You said Oregon.
Yeah.
Well, now they're going to match up against Ohio State.
Mhm.
Who do you think wins this game and punches their ticket to the Natty?
It's so difficult because I think that both of the teams are kind of similar in terms of offensive weapons. So you have two great running back duos on both. You have Judkins and Henderson for the Buckeyes, and then Wisner and Blue for the Longhorns. Now, Henderson and Judkins, in terms of overall balance and usability, I'd say they kind of have the edge on those guys. And then same kind of goes with the receivers. Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka. You have Golden, who's really good for Texas, who had a big touchdown in overtime today. But I don't think that he matches up in terms of overall skill with Egbuka and Smith. Now, I think that the defensive line of Texas is going to put a lot more pressure on Will Howard than Oregon did. So I think he'll have to look out for that 100%. But at the same time, it's a Texas offense that has been playing very well. I know Quinn Ewers struggled in terms of interceptions recently, but they still put up 38 and 39 in back-to-back games. I know it was double overtime today, so they got two bonus touchdowns. I guess you could make the argument, but I really think Ohio State is hot. I don't think that Texas is going to be able to stop them, despite being a higher seed. So I think even if Ohio State ends up being favored in that game, seed-wise, I think we'll see another upset from Ryan Day and his squad.
I completely agree. I was going to take Ohio State too. They've had the hardest path up to that point either way. So I think just being able to build off that momentum, I think they're going to be able to do it again. And I think Texas, we've seen them play big name teams. They've already lost to Georgia twice. Those were their only two losses of the season, actually. And that's what we said when we commentated for that Texas Clemson game. But now it's going to be a little different. You're playing a hot Ohio State team. And we saw what happened when Texas played a hot team, and that was ASU. They almost met the end of their season. I think now Ohio State, they've got that firepower more than what ASU has, and they're still on that hot team trend right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a little too much for Texas's defense to handle. So I'll also take Ohio State. But that'll do it for Given 5 Media. For myself, Ethan Bonheur, and Owen Heffron, we would like to thank everyone who tuned in to the Rose Bowl. Ohio State is your winner, 41-21 over the 13-1 Oregon Ducks. We'd like to thank our directors and Jacob Kaplan and Ben Gantz, who helped out with the production of this stream. We'd like to thank everyone else that's a part of Given 5. But besides that, thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm Ethan Bonner alongside Owen Heffron. We will see you guys next time live on Given 5.